They talk about this little rig. It's one of the rigs that I'll use on day ticket waters, one that I've played around with myself for quite some time now and had some really good results on it. Quite a simple rig to actually make, although it looks fairly complicated with all the little bits and pieces. It doesn't take very long to tie at all. The hook that I'm using is size 8 Fang X, and the hook link I'm using today is 25 missing link. Quite a stiff coated braid, which is what I want because it's a balance bait. I want it to kick away from all the rest of it and that, so that it's all laying down with the actual bait just sitting just like that. It's a brilliant little rig, plenty of movement in the bait, and there's a good chance that you will hook the fish almost instantly. Right, I'm going to show you how to tie this now. First off, take a small section of fluorocarbon, a short piece of shrink tube, 0.5 shrink tube. Get your Fang X size 8, push your shrink tube over so it sits on the hook like that. And then blob the end of your fluorocarbon and then pass this through the length of shrink tube. And what you want to do is the blobbed end, just put it just into it so it's just trapped and it will sit just like that. Right, next up, get the kettle on. I prefer to actually dip this into the hot water rather than steam it. It shrinks down that much quicker. I can twist it round to get it exactly where I want it. Kettle's probably hot enough now. That's it. That's shrunk down. All you need to do is just make sure that the fluorocarbon's coming out from the back of it. Next up, take a length of your missing link. Cut that back and strip off a couple of inches, well, about 2.5 inches. Now, you need to attach the hook, and I normally use a grinner. So that's what we've got at the moment. Next part of the rig is another short piece of shrink tube, which is thread on there, leave that there. Next up, we need a 3mm oval ring, which we then thread onto the fluorocarbon. Next part of it, pass the fluorocarbon back through the eye of the hook. This is where you create the actual D part of it. You can make it as small or as big as you like, to be honest with you, but obviously remember to pull it through that little bit extra, then trim it off, and then you need to blob it down again. So you pull it through a little bit further than what you really think you're going to need, because when you've blobbed it, it will pull back out again. So just trim that off. Blob with a lighter, then you can pull that back. That's created the D. Next up, your second piece of shrink tubing. Push it just down over, and you want to bed it down over the top of the blobbed fluorocarbon. Just over like that. Get the kettle on again. Right, so I'm just dropping it down in there now, just to shrink that part of it there down. That's it. That's good to go. There we go. Make sure you create the bend that you actually want in it before you leave it to cool. And there we go. That's all done now. Now it's just a case of just attaching the bait. Quite often I'll use a 10mm pop-up. If I do use a 10mm pop-up, you might need to put a little bit of putty an inch or so away, depending on how you want it to actually act. If I'm using a piece of fake maize, quite a quick way of actually attaching it, I quite often I'll go a long way through there with another piece of fluorocarbon. It saves all the tying it on and all that sort of stuff. Put your fluorocarbon through the ring. Create a bend in there. And this is a latch needle, so I know that I can pull it all the way through. Pull it down. And then just tease the fluorocarbon out. If you pulled it through, the fluorocarbon sitting out like that, just trim them ends off with a lighter again, lob the ends of them down, and then we have it like that. A couple of bits of putty, one about an inch or so away, another one further back, just to make sure it is all completely bedded down, and that is basically how it will sit. It's an absolute cracking rig, loads of movement in the bait, exactly what you want. You will hook fish, and I guarantee they'll be in the bottom lip.